Okay, we just started the recording. Thank you, Dixie, for that. I'm Heather Causey. I am an online learning specialist for Hanover County, and I am privileged to kind of just be hosting the chat about Schoology. Tamara Letter is in the house, and she was laughing a little bit earlier that I don't want to necessarily follow all the protocols and stuff that we would normally do with muting and whatever, particularly when our numbers are this low. So what I would like to do, particularly if staying at 15, 16, is I kind of want to just go around. Hold on, let me do two things really quickly. In our chat, I am going to share a Google form with you because I know that is like absolutely everybody's kind of favorite thing to do, but I promise it's going to be valuable to you. So let me go ahead and paste this. So what this is this kind of lets us know who's in the meeting, and we'll easily be able to contact each other afterwards. And the next link that I'm going to share with everybody in the room is the response sheet. So you're filling it out, but you're immediately getting to see everybody else's answers that's in the room, okay? So let me go ahead and put that in chat as well. And I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes, which is really hard for me. And I'd love for you guys to kind of give me a thumbs up or a hands up when you've finished filling out the form. And then we'll move on. And no pressure. If you want to hang out in the meeting and not fill out the form, you don't have to fill out the form. Nobody's making you do anything tonight at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. I'm already loving some of these answers. Okay, so let me just talk for a second about why I wanted to have this meeting, and then we'll kind of open it up to some discussion based on the questions that we have in the chat and how we want to move forward. So I am Heather Causey again, online learning specialist for Hanover County, and I've been the Schoology super admin for 3 years now. And obviously, because of COVID, our demand for using the LMS has just grown exponentially. And I believe that we have I don't want to say competing LMS because I don't really feel that way. Another LMS, Canvas, is being used by Virtual Virginia, and they're just wonderfully sharing resources and ideas and stuff with other districts. And they are also sharing that content with Schoology users through a Google group, sharing content that Virtual Virginia is giving to Canvas. It's also giving to us. But that just got me thinking, with all of us building all of this content, all of this professional learning, all this professional development resources, could or should we be sharing and collaborating better? Is this a conversation that we can kind of have and maybe work to figure out how we can work harder and not, work smarter, not harder? So I'm going to be quiet for just a second and let you guys finish filling out that form, or if there's other points of interest that you guys want to start talking about. If not, I'm going to attack some of the questions that we've got in the form. Open floor, people.
Heather, can you change it from view only to have editing access while we're here in the chat if we wanted to add more to the spreadsheet?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that right now, particularly since our numbers are so low. Tamara, I set it to view only earlier when I thought there were going to be 100 and some people. That made me really nervous. But now I think that makes a lot of sense. So I will change that.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Boyd, and I'm at Princess Anne High School in Virginia Beach. And I was hoping to start a Schoology sort of writing center where students could gain access to all the resources we have for all the writing process, and also get paired with other students who request to be put with a peer tutor. And in that, maybe we'd use a discussion group and the two would discuss the writing. I was also thinking about making sure that the peers only asked questions and guided to resources. And I was wondering if anybody had considered that beyond maybe what I've done, which is ask my computer specialist to set me up with just a course that I've started to plug in with some files and some starter stuff. But I was thinking about having a live board and a QR code, and they could join up and request to be a part of it, and teachers could use it in class as well. What is anybody's thoughts about that? Has anybody started a writing center?
So I know there's a writing center at one of our high schools, but I'm not sure how they're using Schoology to run that. Does that make sense? Like, I think they're really using Google Docs and Google Forms to do it, not necessarily a Schoology group or course. But I'm interested in your thoughts. Anybody else?
Would you put the name of the school into the chat room? So
it is Atlee High School.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's look at on the questions that say, let's see if there's any big questions, right? What's the best way to give students feedback on assignments in Schoology? So I could go back and look at who asked that question, but let's put that to the brain trust. How are people giving feedback to assignments in Schoology?
That was actually my question. I'm Nicole from Loudoun County, and what I realized in meeting with some teachers is that it appears that some of them are commenting on test questions. So students are not seeing the comments. And so I've been showing them how they have to go to like an assignment where they've graded it, and they can add the comment in there and then check the box to make it visible to the students. But it just seems weird. Like I can't see what these comments are on the test questions. It seems like there's no way for the students to open up a test that they've already submitted and see these comments. So it just, I guess I'm not even really understanding how that works. which lends to my question, like if they want to give really good feedback, what are some good ways to do that? And I'm willing to think outside of just the comments.
Sarah, I think you nailed it. Sarah, can you please speak to the rubrics and the feedback that that does? Oh, Sarah has a crazy house, so she can't. But so we use rubrics a lot too. We have some base rubrics that the district pushes out for everybody to use. And then with that, they have the commenting feature and students get to, put their writing in. You can choose the rubric, just slide what comment you want, and then it kind of can start a side conversation. I love that. We absolutely use that. Are you using Google Drive assignments integrated into Schoology at all?
Yeah, our teachers use that as well. I think, we've got a range of users, obviously. And so the one teacher I'm thinking of in particular is a band teacher. And so the amount of energy that he's willing to put in to learn all of these things, his learning curve, I guess, is not as, is a little bit steeper. And so I'm trying to meet them where they're at. And he, I don't think, is ready to learn about rubrics. I agree. The ones that are using rubrics are definitely loving it. So
yeah, I think that's my best thought. Did somebody else have a thought?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know that this would necessarily work for a band teacher because they're a bear in and of themselves, right? Just with how different their assessment is. I teach also in Loudon math and English at the high school level. And I've really liked using the Turnitin extension or external tool for my assignments in both my math and my English classes. Turnitin is traditionally thought of just as like the plagiarism checker that we use, but there's a really awesome feedback studio that allows you to give audio comments, and there are quick marks so you can like quickly drag and drop things. You can make your own quick marks. There's also, for like the writing side of things, a bunch of pre-made ones that for like passive voice, I can just drag it over and drop it, and several other features as well that I found it works really well outside of just the English classroom where you're writing essays and things like that. Students can, do work by hand and then scan that PDF in to submit to Turnitin through Schoology in my math class, and then I can provide them feedback right on that document using the Turnitin suite of feedback tools, which has been really helpful at kind of working around some of the Schoology issues that I haven't loved. And there are rubrics in Turnitin as well, so it kind of incorporates that feature. The downsides are that it doesn't coordinate with the grade book, so you do have to enter those grades. They don't talk really well back the other way, and it doesn't notify you when students submit assignments late. So if you rely on that, like you have 120 assignments to grade feature, then it's not very helpful with that. You have to go and check it to see if anyone has submitted it, though it does list the most recent at the top. So it is a quick check if that's something that you do go back and look for.
So you're assigning it in Schoology, but then having them turn it in using Turnitin. Is that right?
So in our district, Turnitin has been incorporated into Schoology as an external tool. So I can either go to—
You said you're allowed in too, right? See,
Yeah.
I haven't explored that. Okay.
Yeah, so you go to the, I think it's the
The apps.
materials or whatever.
Yeah.
You can either go to external tool and select Turnitin from the drop-down list, or you can create an assignment but then connect the external tool. There's a little yellow square in that, like underneath the description box where you put the instructions, there's that bar with things you can click on. One of them is a little yellow square. That's the external tools button. So you can also—
Right. Okay. Thank you. And see, you mentioned how like the voice comments, and I think that's the one thing that I would love to see released in Schoology is just a quick and easy way for teachers to give feedback just by speaking, because I know they would love that. And I think the kids would like it too, because then they're not relying on reading something. A lot of times that's a lot quicker for them. Thank you.
So, Miss Boyd, I want to address your question in the chat where I believe you said that the band teacher should make it possible to share Schoology from outside the district and among schools. So you can do that through resources in Schoology. So like no matter what district you're in, actually across the world, if you are a guys, what do you call it when you're friends in Schoology? Is it friends, colleagues? I don't know. Like you basically have a friend request, then you can share content, full modules, full courses, whatever we want with anybody. New Kent, which is next to Hanover, when they went Schoology, we wanted to share our entire online instructional design course with them. But the problem was so much of the content is built in Google Drive, which is in our domain. So while I would absolutely give him anything Schoology I made, as he went through the modules, everything was in our domain and he couldn't get to it. So the struggle was I couldn't give him domain access to Google. So I think that's something like in consideration. If I'm building something that we would like to share, I've got to make sure that it's the PDF or it's an open document outside of our domain in Google.
Understood.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. Maybe it's just enough to know that it can be done. My
Oh,
husband's a band director, and so he's downstairs, and so he's like, I can't share with this other band director, and I was like, but you can. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, for some reason I can't. For some reason his district is just not talking to ours for some reason, but maybe it's something I should talk to Schoology.
It's personal. Well, you're right. It could be a setting that one of the Schoology domain administrators has, but if you are colleagues with that person, you can absolutely share content back and forth. I got an entire EPF course from Powhatan beginning of last year. So that's it, making a connection. Thank you, Josh. I think of it as friends, but it's connection. Got it. All right, let's see. Another one about best practices to help students stay organized within the platform. One thing that Hanover did is, and I mentioned it a second ago, we started it online instructional design, like best practices for using the LMS. And there are structures that we really require for all teachers to use about like how they format the base set of folders and how they organize things by date, so that no matter what course you're in, there's a similar look and feel. And what we've discovered is that that really helps our students as well as our parents who are trying to navigate courses from a bunch of different teachers. At least there's a base set template. And another thing that you can do in resources in your district is build that template. Like we built out the entire structure with all the folders, with all the weeks named on them already. And then a teacher goes into resources, pulls that over to their course, and they're ready to go. You know, like you can build a base set and share it with your whole district, which is something that was really helpful for us. Did somebody else have another idea about organizing or staying organized? I think that was a good question. Actually, several of you had it.
So sort of along those lines, one of the things my school pushed big this year was using due dates. Mm-hmm. And that was, I never would have thought of it. I'm a music teacher. And so, you know, I have literally the entire school that I'm trying to get assignments back from, for everywhere from my kindergartners who are like pointing and clicking to my fifth graders who actually have to do bigger work. And I didn't realize that when you put the due date on there, then it reminds them a lot. to the point where I've had kids come back and say, but I already did it. I'm like, no, it's, you still have a due, like, you know, and it was something for me that I never really thought of. But when somebody told me like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And the parents can even at a certain level get emails. Now, like I don't have
they choose that. Yeah.
Right,
parents
I don't have
choose to.
My son is in kindergarten. I don't have it set up to get emails about his assignments yet, but my older kids definitely do. And I think that's really important.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. What else related to that? Anybody? Okay, the other question that somebody asked is notifications. You can absolutely edit your notifications to only get them from the courses that you want to get them from. So if you go under your settings in the upper right-hand corner, under notifications, it lets you customize which courses you want to get notifications from. To keep your sanity, I highly recommend that. All right, let me see. All right. Better understand how K-12 teachers are using Schoology and how a nonprofit partner could utilize Schoology for virtual learning, field trips, and experiences. Alicia, can you help me understand that question just a little bit better?
Hi, yeah, I work for a nonprofit that works closely with Loudoun County Public Schools, and we have been for the past 2 years transitioning a lot of our lessons that we take to the school and work directly with the students into an online format so that we expand, because we have a staff of 3 and we engage with about 8,000 students per school year. And we want to be able to reach more. We're a civics organization. And I guess I'm here just to see how teachers are experiencing Schoology and what features are really helpful and maybe what features are kind of barriers to success. So I'm just kind of observing and trying to understand Schoology fully, since the county has moved in that direction, and try to think of ways that our organization can maybe provide materials in that LMS platform for our partners.
Anybody have any ideas to help Alicia?
I was thinking, Alicia, that perhaps the best thing to do, since you probably don't have access to the actual Schoology platform, is to either make digital copies of things that you want the students to do, such as hyperlinked documents, to go to websites, so that a teacher could incorporate that into his or her existing Schoology platform course. And you could send that by email, or you could have a teacher put it into a course that other teachers can link to. And I think links would be the best way to incorporate it if you don't actually have access to the Schoology course to put in things.
I agree. And if you know in advance the teacher that you're working with, if you can send her that content prior to your meeting, she can post it in Schoology. She can actually also check and make sure that all of those links are going to work within her division and her domain. And post it to where the students can all get to it. And that way, when you're leading the field trip or discussion, they can easily be getting to what you're sharing with them.
Yeah, and I would say I work at a nonprofit organization, and it was worth our investment in Schoology to get our own instance set up as a developer, and so to create your own courses so that you can invite to teachers, so whether you have some pre-experiences to those virtual experiences or post, then you have it in one place. You can invite them into the group and share it out that way, and then it works. It's yours, and you don't have any of those hurdles to overcome with the technology. And is it going to work, or how is it going to play? So I would say it's worth the investment to get your own instance set up.
All right, so the next kind of thing that I have on here that I think we can talk about is, I think it's Dawn is looking for ideas on how they can most effectively use Schoology with your staff and students. I'm going to suggest that if you can, really encourage your professional development to be using Schoology as their platform to teach their teachers, because then teachers are kind of seeing that as a model of how it could or should be used to teach. And then that helps them kind of get their head around how they can then move forward using it with their students. I've also seen really good use when the admin team is using Schoology to maybe make a faculty course. Because when the leadership is using it and touting it, then all of a sudden you start to buy in and go, okay, well, that makes sense too. Now, COVID and remote learning has also made a massive push for everybody needing to have a digital platform to use. So that pushed it. But does anybody else have any ideas for her that they can effectively use Schoology with staff and students?
I would just second what you said, is having like the administration or like our ITS, she put out Flip PD over Schoology for the past couple years, and it really helped because there are things that she was having us do, and I would go, oh, I can do that with my kids. So it was neat to learn different techniques and things without knowing I was learning them. As I'm at a tech conference, I will say I'm not somebody who's super good with technology. So to be able to just to be able to see it done, and then I felt like giving it to students, I got it. And I knew that if they, sent me a message, hey, can you help me out with this? Yes, I know how to do that now.
Our school's administration put together a Schoology course for all of the teachers in our school. And in addition to being a teacher, I also spend some of my blocks coaching other teachers in the building, mostly with like personalized learning and that kind of stuff. But all of the resources that we put together from a professional development and coaching standpoint, in addition to all of just the normal administrative stuff that teachers need access to, all of that is now housed on that Schoology course, so that we help teachers reinforce, like, these are ways you can organize things. This is, the type of stuff that you can post and do. And we try to put everything there. It's not always possible, but just by having that kind of one-stop shop in the course has been a priority of our administration this year.
So Valerie, what I'm hearing you say though is that that course is really a professional development course, which I love that, right? We absolutely do that as well. And teachers love being able to go back, right? And be able to answer questions with it. Our online school has 6,500 students, and we have a faculty course that we all share handbooks and resources. But one of the biggest features that I love is that when we do updates in the Schoology course, all of the teachers get an email, which is awesome. But you know what email inboxes look like, right? They're insane and things get lost. So teachers know that all of the emails that came from the online school's leadership team are in the updates course in Schoology, and they can go back and look at it, and it keeps it all together. Does that make sense? Like it's really been helpful for them, just because there's so much change and new policies and new procedures and stuff that we're all dealing with. And Schoology has helped kind of make that cohesive faculty home for where all of those things are housed, as well as the communication hub for us. And we've love that. Oh, Ruthie, it's 7:29. So guys, any last minute question? What I want to do with this group right now is I'm going to kind of compile what some of these questions and thoughts and needs are, and I will send out kind of a full document like with what we found out, but I'm also going to share some of your needs and thoughts with our state Schoology representative, because they really wanted to hear what we were talking about today, but I wanted this to just be us. So I'm really pleased about that. Any last questions? Well, it is 7:30. I have enjoyed meeting all of you, just having some casual conversation. And it does look like there's several of us that want to continue and maybe meet once a month, and we will continue to help and support each other. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Ruthie.
Thank you, guys. And you can
Thank you,
join
ladies.
up in the Discord in the room if you want to continue chatting in the Monroe room with Heather after this.
Thank you.
We can stop the recording.